Here are the pros and cons of living in Sugar Hill, Georgia. One of the biggest pros of living there is the infrastructure in this city is so much better than many of the other suburbs around Metro Atlanta. And it's got this like small town vibe to it, small town charm. And so, to be able to find that the infrastructure can actually handle the amount of people who live there, and you still have this kind of quaint town feel to it. It's just such a great place to live. And this is one of the things that marks Sugar Hill. This is one of the things that you feel right away. As soon as you go into the city, you can tell that it's just so very well taken care of. It's a beautiful city. Like the public spaces where like the city takes care of the landscaping, they do a great job of that. Very similar to like Alpharetta. And so the feel and the vibe of Sugar Hill is just much better than many other places in Metro Atlanta. What's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living, and we put out videos every week about what it's like to live in Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs. Another huge pro of living in the city, and one thing that brings so many people to this city, is the public school ratings. Sugar Hill Elementary School, Lanier Middle School, and Lanier High School are all an 8 out of 10. No matter what part of the city you move to, you're going to be in a very good school district, and that's because Sugar Hill is in Gwinnett County, and Gwinnett is known for having some of the best public schools in all of Georgia. Another pro of living in Sugar Hill is the downtown area. If you're going to move to the downtown part of Sugar Hill or any part of Metro Atlanta, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I feel the love. I feel the support. Thank you so much. I'm always happy to help with any questions that you have about moving to the Metro Atlanta area. But Sugar Hill's downtown area is on par with some of the best ones, on par with Alpharetta or Swanee. They've got a great downtown area. It still has some of that historic feel to it. They've got a lot of great local mom and pop shops there, restaurants there. Of course, they've got the Bowl, which is like a big amphitheater that they have right there in the downtown area. Brings so many people, not just from this city, but from even surrounding cities to this part of the town. And so this is definitely one of the highlights of living in Sugar Hill. Another pro of living here is the Greenway and the amount of like parks that there is here in green space. But the Greenway is like a paved walking trail that goes through downtown Sugar Hill and that goes to other parts of the city. It's miles and miles long, but the thing is that it's not like a trail through the woods. It's paved, so it's great for it's definitely easy for walking, but it's also good for like bikes or skateboards or whatever it is that you do on the Greenway. It's very easy. It's very convenient, that like for my kids, my kids are not going to be like hiking through the woods, but on this paved trail, it's much easier for them. And so it's a great way for getting together with the whole family and going on an easy walk in nature. So that Greenway is definitely a big part of living in Sugar Hill. And then the amount of parks and green space that is all around the city is definitely one of the highlights. Another big benefit of living here is that it's super close to Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is one of the biggest, if not the biggest lake in all of Georgia. Lots of people go to Lake Lanier yearly, boating, fishing, swimming. You can do all of these things in Lake Lanier. It provides really a lot of outdoor recreation because of how big Lake Lanier is and because of how popular it is. It's definitely one of the highlights of living in this area. And then not only is it close to Lake Lanier, but it's also close to the North Georgia mountains. And so very often people who live in this city vacation in the North Georgia mountains. It's a great way to get away from the city, get a cabin on like Airbnb or whatever in North Georgia. The Blue Ridge Mountains are very close to Sugar Hill. So this is definitely a big part of living in Sugar Hill. Now, of course, with any city, there are some downsides to living in the area, and we want to make sure that you have the whole picture when it comes to moving to any one of these cities. We don't want to just tell you about the good. We want you to understand what the bad sides are so that you can have the right information, all of the information to make the best decision for you for where you want to move to. But some of the cons of living in Sugar Hill, first off, It's not very racially diverse, I wouldn't say. According to Wikipedia, Sugar Hill is 63% white, 20% Hispanic, 12% African American, and then 5% for all of the other cultures and ethnicities. So, in Wikipedia's opinion, and my opinion as well, it's not really the most diverse area. And so, if this is something that's important to you, which it is for many people, including myself and my wife and my kids, we want to make sure that we're in an area that has that kind of diversity so you can experience all different cultures and ethnicities. So, Sugar Hill's not the best at that. And this is actually kind of surprised because the surrounding suburbs of Sugar Hill are very diverse. And again, I'm not saying that Sugar Hill has no diversity. There is some. It's just not as diverse as some of the surrounding suburbs. Duluth, Buford, these areas are very diverse. There are a lot of different races and ethnicities represented there. And so it's, I think, a little bit better on some of the cities that are around Sugar Hill. And then another con of living in Sugar Hill is that it's becoming very popular. It is popular and it's still becoming more popular. Lots of people are moving to this area, and this kind of super rapid growth can sometimes be a strain on the infrastructure, the public schools, sometimes get a little bit crowded in this city. If the infrastructure, which is great, like I said, they do a great job there in the city. If it can't handle the influx of people, then you could see maybe roads going a little longer between being repaved, or maybe power lines, a lot of power lines above ground that are not well taken care of. And so this kind of rapid growth sometimes leads to some issues, and is certainly something that you want to think about if you plan on moving here. Another downside of living here is that it's not really like a huge economy in Sugar Hill. There are some jobs, of course, there's some shopping, but there's not as much as some of the other suburbs. Like, the majority of people who live in Sugar Hill don't also work in Sugar Hill. They have to commute to another city for work. So this is definitely a downside. Like, if you're wanting to keep a commute from home to work of like 5 to 10 minutes, then you might not be able to do that in Sugar Hill. And then, of course, like the shopping and the restaurants, they have a lot of that in the downtown area. And then there are some other major roads around this city where you can find lots of commercial areas, but it's not quite as much as other suburbs. And speaking of commuting, it's also very far from Atlanta. So if you live in Sugar Hill and you work in Atlanta and you're driving down to Atlanta, south to Atlanta, like during rush hour, you're looking at like an hour and a half commute one way, and then an hour and a half back to work. And so that would absolutely be terrible. There's like no public transportation in Sugar Hill. That's not really a thing. I mean, Gwinnett might have some kind of public transportation, but like nobody uses that. It's not like super popular. And so that's definitely an issue if you're living in Sugar Hill as well. And then, while Sugar Hill is a very family-friendly suburb, it's not known for having like a super active nightlife. You're not gonna like find a whole bunch of things to do at like 10 o'clock at night in this city. Like, many things close down at like 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock. It's definitely a quiet, small town, more so than it is a big city where you're going to find a bunch of evening nightlife things to do. But of course, there's a lot of great things going for this city. There are so many people moving here to this area because it really is one of the best suburbs in all of Atlanta. But to really understand what it's like to live here, you gotta kind of like feel the vibe. You got to visit the city. You got to walk through the streets and see what the people are like and see what the downtown area is like. And of course, if you're like living super far and you're not able just to come here for a day trip, then that can be kind of difficult. So I actually made an entire video where I went on a tour of the downtown part of Sugar Hill, walked through the city, walked through the downtown area, pointing out the different parts of downtown so that you can get like a up close and personal feel for what the area is like. You can check out that video right here. I'll see you in the next one.